This is a collaborative discussion amongst three friends.
You are a bandwagon Swiftie.
Wow. LaCroix.
How have you never had a Choco Taco?
Well, I don't know what a Choco Taco is.
Do you do MMA? Because you're really wide.
So tell me, what's in your beverage center?
You don't know what the hell you're talking about.
No, my eye twitch isn't bad right now.
Let's talk about the process. How are we going to help you obtain the best home at the best possible price, terms, and conditions that we can? Welcome to Shootin the SHT, Real Banter by Nick and JT, brought to you by the Slocum Home Team and Shootin Bank. We are live in the pod right now in the studio. We've got a guest in-house, Steve Miller, just walked through the door like 5 minutes ago and sat down and bam, let's go.
Welcome, Steve.
Hey, welcome. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Great to be here.
Excited for you to be on the podcast today. So today's guest is one of those names everyone in Rhode Island probably already knows, Stephen Miller. He's the team leader of the Stephen Miller Group at Coldwell Banker Realty, a 16-year vet of the real estate business. Coming off a big year with 44 closings, over $26 million in volume.
Let's go.
Also the president-elect of the Kent-Washington Association of Realtors. And if there's one thing Steve's known for, it's being the trusted source for intelligent, honest advice in real estate and beyond. Welcome to Shootin the SHT. Steve, glad to have you on.
Thank you, guys.
Welcome.
Yeah. So the rock and roll band's here.
All right. I love it. I love it. So let's jump right into it. So we're just getting right into the interview here. We're all freezing down here in the podcast studio. It's about, a negative 10-degree wind chill out there. Might be negative 5 in this room. So we'll be efficient today. That's for sure.
Yes.
Absolutely. So, Steve, let's start at the beginning. How'd you get into real estate?
So this all started back, so I've been in Rhode Island now. It'll be 20 years this year. Isn't that crazy?
All right.
Yeah. So I'm originally from Minnesota, went to school at University of Wisconsin in Madison, and then I've been on the East Coast. After college, I moved to Boston, and then I got a job working for this British company that would charter the QE2 privately for senior executives, and we'd broker meetings with them, very industry focused. So then I was there for about 5-10 years, and I worked for Gartner Group in Connecticut, and I was still living in New York. And then I met my current husband now, Brian Moretti, who's from Rhode Island originally, and that's kind of how all non-Rhode Islanders get to Rhode Island. Just FYI, that's how it works. We came up here. It was Easter 2006, and I was like, we were going through our early midlife crisis. So I'm going to age myself here. I was like 34 at the time, and I was like, we were both kind of done, ready for a change in Manhattan. So I just was like, we came up here, had Easter dinner with his mother and their family, and we were sitting around the table, and I just was like, it was like a thing went off in me, and I was like, we're done with New York. I'm selling my co-op. We're moving up here. We didn't have a plan.
Just rip the Band-Aid off.
Just rip the Band-Aid off. Like, I look back at that decision, I'm like going, God, I don't know if I'd do that now. I'm like, I'm more, maybe because you're older and stuff, you're a little more cautious, but Then I was like, no, we're doing this. So I literally 5 weeks later, my co-op I owned a co-op, Lower East Side, sold it, had it on the market, interviewed 3 agents like we all do. Okay. And I just had a nice connection with one of them. And I remember telling her, I'm like going, I want to get into this business someday. And she's like, you don't want to do this. You don't want to
Sound advice.
You don't want to sell real estate. It is a show. I'm like going, great.
Sounds like fun.
Sounds like fun. So when we moved up here, we didn't have it's funny because we were looking for houses. We represented ourselves for the first several months because we didn't have a timeline necessarily. And at that time, I was kind of looking forward thinking, I want to kind of get acclimated with the market. I want to know why why you're charging $300,000 versus $3 million and then everything in between. And at the time, it came down to when we made an offer, and this was before they had agency, it was like sub-agency and stuff. So you're a listing, and you're a listing agent. Everyone's working for the listing agent basically. It was really strange. So we didn't get an offer, we didn't get it, and then I was kind of pissed. So I was like, now I want a buyer's agent, So at that point, I was like, I want to definitely get into this business, but the timing, at that point, it was like 2006, and I I got involved. I was singing at the time with Rhode Civic Choral and Orchestra. I'm still kind of an advisor for them.
Cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I was a double major. I was a music major, performance and history, and I did nothing with both of them. So,
Nice.
so for all you kids out there, doesn't matter what your major is. If you have an entrepreneurial spirit, you can do real estate too. So that's kind of why I think I got into real estate, is that it fits so much that I wanted to do. My dad ran his own business, in retail, and my grandfather did the same. So it's always been kind of in our gene pool, if you will. And then I finally, I think, made the leap in 2008. So when I did pre-licensing.
Fun.
Nice.
That was a good time to get into the business, wasn't it?
Great time to get into business. And in fact, true story. So when Lehman Brothers busted in September and all that shit went down, that's when I was like, oh, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
You know, because I was just
You
like,
can curse. I'll bleep it out.
okay, I
It's a family podcast.
What the F? And
We're joking. By
That's
the
what
way.
we say. That's what we say.
I figured. So I kind of hesitated, and I waited for a couple months, and I finally got my license in January of 2009. And so I've been with Coldwell Banker since then, same office, East Greenwich, through the whole time. And now recently, as everyone probably is aware, Compass now they own Sotheby's and Coldwell Banker and Century 21. So I've been really happy. So yeah, so
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's kind of how I got into real estate, and it's been. I'll tell you, the first 4 years though were just you're robbing Peter to pay Paul. Like Nick, you got in the business then. It was really difficult, and I didn't rely on family and friends to do my business. I did kind of the hard knocks, I guess, if you will. So covering other agents, doing open houses, that kind of stuff. But it was brutal. I mean, I look back and I'm like, I can't believe I'm going to be celebrating 17 years next week, and I'm like, I have 4 different lifetimes, during that span,
crazy,
right? I mean, we all do. I think if you've been in that business, so it's that long. So it's just been wild. It's been a fun ride.
That's awesome.
I always say I think getting into the business around that time frame was probably the biggest blessing of my career.
Absolutely.
Being able to learn in a market like that, and if you can find a way to succeed and survive, in a market like that, then you can survive any market.
Anywhere.
So many agents are talking about how difficult the market is today, and it's like it's nothing compared to 2008 when you had 14 months of inventory and foreclosures left and right. It was crazy.
The absorption rates were literally 24 months.
Yeah.
And a $600,000 price point.
Yep.
Or depending on the neighborhood, but Warwick Neck, I remember, was like, God, there's stuff that sit there for 2 years.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Minimum.
Yep. Warwick Neck was especially one of those markets where if a listing went on, you're like, this thing is going to take a long time to sell.
For a while. Yeah. So it's different now, and I think it was. I learned the hard knocks as everyone did, and so those kind of things I think have served me well over the last several years, obviously.
That's great.
I always tell new agents on the team back then, I used to do 4 open houses a weekend. They look at me all wide-eyed, like 4 a weekend? It was, Saturday from 10 to 12 and 1 to 3 or 11 to 1 and 2 to 4 and do it all again on Sunday.
Hope someone stops by.
Yeah. if 2 people came, I had a busy open house. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So if you can tell us more about those early days, because obviously the industry is a lot different today than it was back then. The market's a lot different. And you didn't rely on family and friends. You grinded. So what did that look like? What were your days like? What were your weekends like?
Yeah, so I think it was back then, we had an office, so we would have office time, So you would just wait for people to call. And then, I do a lot of open houses. It was decidedly a buyer's market. So there was a ton of seller inventory on the market, and buyers were just not buying. So I think part of that was I think I look back on that too, and I think the other thing that I did is we had the broker caravans. So as a new agent, I was making myself known to agents that have been in the business for 15, 20 years. And
so important.
It's so important because I think that's the thing now that people don't we're in a whole different generation now, I think, in terms of how social media dominates what we do. And the fact that the face-to-face communication, picking up the phone, having conversations, and really just developing and nurturing those relationships that they need to be, that tech's going to enhance, but you still have to do those kind of old school things that people did in the 1980s and 90s, and it's going to last forever. And every industry.
Absolutely.
That's great.
So
So-
often tone is so critical in those conversations, especially with other agents, just to be able to have a conversation, it comes through on the phone, whereas a text or an email can just come off so short or,
I'm a huge texter too.
yeah.
Like I honestly, I'm like, you want my attention? Text me, and I will reply probably in the next hour, unless I'm doing a podcast or in a long meeting or something. But I'll say, listen, can we have I need to talk to you about this. Can we further? I mean, I just will not have a conversation per se on text. It just doesn't just doesn't work.
so true.
Yeah.
So you said, Steve, your superpower is being the trusted source for intelligent advice. Where did that come from?
So, I got to give a shout out to Allie Cherry Cassidy, actually.
Okay.
We were in the same pre-licensing class in 2008, and then she was with Coldwell Banker for a bit, and we kind of partnered up a little bit. And I remember we were doing like kind of ads, and we both kind of came up with that moniker a little bit. And I think part of it was that both of us, like, myself included, I think it's just in terms of like giving practical, rational, trustworthy advice to like my family. Like I remember talking to my sister. I'm like, she did this in college. She came one time. She's like, I go, the dean, her now husband now was like, yeah, he's choosing his buddies. They're going on this trip. I said, you go, well, does he love you? And I go, he's like, yeah, I think so. And I go, well, then there's only one way to find out. You're going to dump him. And then if you do, he's either going to come calling back on your hands and knees, or you're done and you can move on with your life and find the man that loves you, right? And sure enough, she broke up with him. 3 weeks later, he came crawling back on his hands and knees, and they've been happily married ever.
Bold strategy, Cotton.
Right? He's 22 giving that advice. But she still talks about that. So it's like, I think part of it is that I just feel that, when I got in this industry, there's so many people that don't tell you the honest truth in terms of like, I don't care if you're going to buy this house. I'd rather have you move on to something else because I'm more concerned about the relationship that we're going to have over the next 25 years.
Absolutely.
And how many, potential friends and family that you'll feel comfortable, recommending or referring me.
Yeah.
So, and I always tell that people when I meet, especially buyers, it's like, I go, I'm going to talk you out of more things than I'm going to talk you into, period, the end. And so
That's great.
I think that's critical advice. The ability to tell somebody not to buy a house will win you more business in the long run than trying to convince them
God.
to buy a
Absolutely.
house.
I talk
So,
people out of stuff every single day.
absolutely. So I think once agents are comfortable enough in their own skin to do that, that's kind of where I think careers start to turn the corner, in my opinion. To have that confidence to say, yeah, I might lose this particular sale, but I'm going to gain this client not only in this transaction, but in their future transactions and all of their referrals because I'm treating them like a friend or family or whatever it might be,
Right.
and giving them the advice they need to hear.
Well, think about your financial advisor. Think about your attorney. Think about all the people that you're utilizing, all of the most valuable things that you have. And when it comes to housing, that's the number one asset that people have.
Yeah.
Most people have. So you really have to be honest and transparent. Period. The end.
Yeah, that's where they'll tell their sister, you have to talk to Steve.
Yeah.
He saved me from this house that he thought was going to be a money pit.
Yeah.
And later on, we found a much better one, and we're happy.
Yeah.
now.
And the other thing too, like our team, our mission for our team is like live who you are and where you want to be. And I think that really speaks to me because I look at this business where, everyone has a life puzzle, right? So that's what motivates me. I've kind of mild ADHD, like probably millions of other Americans
We all do.
out there. Everyone does, right?
Check.
So check. Okay. So because of that, I look at like when I come into a situation where someone's like, "Hey, can you help my friend out? Can you help?" I have to look at their life. I have to look at their puzzle, and like most things, like, "Yep, I've seen that before. Yep, I've seen that before." Like, "Ooh, that's a little different. We'll talk about that later." "Ooh, that's going to be a little challenging, but we can talk about that. We can handle that." So I think living who you are, like everyone's going to be unique in that regard. And then where you want to be is just like, hey, it's just, I just love that about, everyone's very different. And so you have to kind of mold yourself around where they're going to be in life. So I don't know.
That's great.
just- yeah.
Good stuff.
So how do you feel like that trust first positioning has shaped your business as opposed to people who are out there just like chasing trends and trying to constantly evolve things where you're just trust first?
Yeah, I mean, I think trust first is like it's the number one thing. It's kind of a financial principle, right? So I think if you're leading with that and leading with that integrity in how you deal with people first and foremost, then you may not get the residuals of that up front, but you're gonna build a long-term business. Period. The end.
I'd imagine of those 44 transactions, that's a lot of repeat clients and referrals.
Yeah, so for 25, like I think if I had a poll that, I think it's like 90%.
That's
like
great.
2024 was 95%. Was either repeat past clients, referrals of repeat clients, or agents actually way out of our network that were not necessarily with our brokerage, other brokerages, but they're like, you need to work with these guys.
Nice.
In
That's
Rhode
great.
Island.
That's great.
So, and I think part of that has to do with now we're driving more SEO, we're driving more stuff on social media, we're driving more presence that's now resonating,
That's great.
Love it. So 44 units, 26 million in a market that just absolutely
Not quite 26, but
Okay,
that's okay.
close enough. Horseshoes and hand grenades. In a market that absolutely chewed up a lot of agents. We hear all the time of agents having their worst year ever. It's one of the lowest transaction volumes on record. And it's been a down year for a lot of people. What do you attribute that success to? What do you think, beyond what you've already shared? Like, what created that kind of success for you in such a challenging market?
Well, I don't know. I think just being consistent, just being consistent with your schedule, being consistent with showing up, being consistent with, doing the things that probably most other agents don't want to do. And I think your schedule, your daily work schedule kind of it dictates that. I mean, we're entrepreneurs. So, I get up, I don't feel good. I'm like, I'm going to watch the Today Show for 3 hours. I'm like, okay, great. That's really productive.
Yep.
After 5 days times 4 weeks of that, then what do you have results with?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Why don't have any business?
there you go. Then don't get your TV out of your house. Just there's certain things that you have to do that, I think. And I think it's interesting because we've been tracking our business now for a while. And, unfortunately, like I usually have anemic Q1s. It's just what it is. I mean, I can, that's like January is usually really slow, but then spring starts picking up. And then literally I tell my team, I'm like going, from tax day to July 4th, I usually do not leave the state. Like maybe go to Block Island for a few days in May, but that's about it. But otherwise I'm here. Like that's my,
It's game time.
Yeah.
it's game time. Plus it's like if you're a farmer, you got to be there to take care of your fields,
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's how it works. And then, but I'll say the last few years, Q3 and Q4 have been busy. Like we did a lot of business in August. I mean, it seems like in Rhode Island, it seems like our spring has gotten shoved into summer more.
It has, yeah.
Like the last couple of years, April's been like meh, and I think part of that's been dictated by interest rates. Like I think we had high rates like 2 years ago, so they didn't come down until later in the fall. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah. What would you say are a few fundamentals that haven't changed that you still rely on today that you had a decade ago?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, like a decade ago and now, I still pick up the phone and I call my people. You got to call your sphere. You got to check in with them. I think the nice handwritten note touch is also nice and good. I think, when I first started, I would go do, and I still do it now, is like do coffees and go out to lunch and do those type of things. But now it's like, we were doing, I haven't done it for a couple of years, but we were doing like client appreciation parties and client sphere events and stuff. I think that's a big way just to get in front of your people, and you don't have to, we were spending kind of crazy money for that. But going this year, I'm going to be planning on doing some just smaller, informal type of stuff. There's a lot of other great agents and teams that you guys do that a lot, So I think that's important to kind of get in front of your people and just, know that you're there for them.
Absolutely.
Sounds familiar, huh?
Yeah. You guys are great at doing that.
There's no rocket science. I mean, it's like if you talk to people, talk to more people in person, it's going to work. It's going to create those conversations. You're going to be top of mind. And when those referral opportunities come up, who are they going to think of? They're going to think of Steven. They're going to think of us, whoever it might be, wherever that relationship lies. And it's just so critical. So many agents just want to hide behind the computer, the keyboard, put up a social media post and be like, why am I not getting any business? It's
Well, here's the thing. So like when I had two agents, this was a few years ago. One of them no longer, he does interior design, but he no longer is on the team. But like I spent a lot of money getting lead stuff, like lead referrals. We were doing commissions Inc. We were doing a lot of different things that at the end of that year, we had a good year, but my profitability was like, it was just like, I'm like, oh, we're not doing that again. You know,
It's so tough.
It's tough. And the other thing is, you guys know, it's like, I think if you're going to invest in whatever system that you're going to invest in your team, then that person has to commit to doing the time and doing it. Otherwise,
Absolutely.
it's not going to work. Oh my goodness, there's some nodding heads.
Hit some nerves on that one.
Well, it's so true. You
Right?
can buy all
looking
the
at
leads
you,
you
John.
want, but if you're not willing to pick up the phone and talk to them,
Well, so this is kind of, you cannot coach motivation.
Nope.
yep.
Fire in the belly.
Find the bell.
Horses, water, the whole thing.
The whole thing. So I've said this to people. I said, especially with real estate, it doesn't matter if you're a team or you're a solo agent. And I think the younger agents out there, if someone is paying your bills, okay, someone's paying your mortgage, someone's paying your car payment, someone's paying your rent, guess what? You're
motivated.
probably not going to change your habits that you have, or not willing to be that coachable if you're not forced to pay your
Yeah,
own
where's
way.
the incentive, right?
Absolutely. I always told John when he first started, he's like, should I buy this new car? I'm like, absolutely. It's good motivation for you. Buy the upgraded version. Buy the higher trim package.
One summer,
Put yourself into debt.
One summer, I kid you not, one summer he talked me into a new car, a new house, and an engagement ring in a month and a half span.
Wow, he's a good
And
salesman.
then he started selling a shit ton of
I
real
sold
estate.
a lot of real estate the next year.
But it's so true. Like, I bought my first house on a stated income mortgage back in 2007. So I got my license 2006.
Yep.
Graduated from school in 2007. Went full time. I bought a house in. I graduated May of 07. I bought in June of 07. I had a couple of roommates. I met my wife. They moved out. It was, Lehman Brothers crashed not long after
Yeah.
that, and it's like, how the hell am I going to make my mortgage
am I gonna
payment? And it's a dog eat dog world. I'm on a commission job and had to figure out quick how to sell. And there's nothing like that motivation where you're like, damn, I'm going to get foreclosed on. Dan, I can't pay for that engagement ring, or I can't buy that car, or whatever it might be. That is going to intrinsically push somebody to do things, to put themselves in uncomfortable positions that you have to in order to become successful. It's so critical, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I love it. So kind of along the same topic, what do you think new agents underestimate about the staying power that's required to be successful in this business?
Well, I think they underestimate the fact that you've got to be consistent. You've got to have a schedule. Those are the two big things. I think the other thing is that you've got to network. Like I've seen some agents that are really good at that. And it's also intentional. So it also kind of fits, like, so for example, like if you're like, there's a women's networking group. I've gone to it once. There's a colleague of mine that goes all the time. And I was in BNI like 10 years ago. That was helpful. That kind of helped my business grow. I've got my cousin's in Arizona. She's in a BNI group, and they do a lot of networking that way too. So I think that for younger agents now, they really have to focus on getting out of kind of what we talked about, getting out of your comfort zone and doing things that you've got to get in front of people. You've got to network with other people. You've got to get in front of, and then also, what's your why? Like, because if people really, it's like, okay, there's 4,000 agents in the state. Why am I going to use you?
Sure.
So and as a new agent, it's tougher now, I think, because there's so much that there wasn't in 2008 and 9 that there is today, where it's like, that can be intimidating a little bit.
Absolutely. There's so much that you can, so many avenues you can choose to go down, and they're all looking for the easy button, and there is no easy button.
There's not.
And they get distracted by the shiny objects that are out there, and it's like, oh, if I just sign up for this system, or I just do this post, or I just do that, I'm going to be one of those top producers. And you have to build the foundation first.
Yeah,
in my
correct.
opinion. You got to start from the ground up, do the basics really well, and then add on to it as you grow. And so many are looking to take shortcuts and just skip to the finish line before they actually put in the work to develop that.
Well, and I think too, as like a younger agent, don't get consumed about what you have to do. Just focus on one or two things. Like, honestly, and then focus on being a specialist in one area. I know that can be difficult necessarily, but but there's people that just focus on just waterfront or historic or first time buyers or what have you. So, part of my business is like, we focus on everything, and that's been good and bad, I think, a little bit, because part of it is that if I look at my own neighborhood, I'm like, there's no one that's dominating our neighborhood. I'm in Edgewood, Patuxent Village. I mean, there's been 1% turnover, which is super low.
Yes.
Normally, and I think in a balanced market, you'd see 10% turnover.
8, 9, yeah.
8, 9 for sure, right? So that's a little troubling, but it also is a motivator for me to kind of, what should I be doing more?
Right.
That's all.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Yeah.
So team building, you said building a team's been up and down. Appreciate the honesty there because it can be challenging. What do you think has been the hardest aspect of that for you?
Well, so I got to tell you a story about why I got my first team in the first place. And this was in 2017. So I got my 7-year itch in the business and I was like, I kind of want to do something different, And so my husband at the time got a new job. He was working out of New York. And I said, if you like New York for a year, then I'm going to get my license and I'm going to start selling in New York. So that's what I did. And so to do that, to keep my business running here, I needed to start a team. So I had no plan. Like I literally started with Corcoran and I stayed with Coldwell Banker, and they were both part of the same Anywhere Brands, which is now Compass. But I started a team of 3 agents and didn't really have a plan for that. And then I started selling with Corcoran in New York City simultaneously.
Wow.
Yeah.
Learning a whole new market, trying to build a team. Yeah.
And I was going
Sounds a little overwhelming.
And I was going back and forth. Yeah. And at it's just a long story, but the short of it is that obviously didn't work out. But it wasn't that bad. It was like there was a lot of things that I had to learn quickly that made sense. And I also learned within 2 years that I'm like, yep, real estate's local. And like, I love New York, but I'm like, it was funny because I could sell probably 4 houses here, make the same amount of money of selling 1 house in 6 months in New York or co-op or condo or whatever. So that was a great learning experience. And I look back at that and I don't have any regrets. There's a lot of things I would have done differently, which is planning that out better.
What was more challenging, learning that market or trying to run a new team here while not being here?
That's a great question. I think they both sucked. It was tough because I'm like, they both have their challenges.
Yeah.
So I think, I look now, like my recent team, like we're going through different growth now. Like one of my agents left is now kind of doing it part-time and doing another job full-time, which is fine. And then I had another agent that moved to Florida. So it's just me and another agent, Sal Fernandez, and we're going to be building and we're going to have a huge growth year this year. So, but I look at I think the biggest thing that I can take away is that nothing lasts forever.
Yeah.
And so I think you've got to have that mindset going into as an agent and a team leader or running any business is that nothing lasts forever. And so I've learned, I think over the last several years is I just took things very emotionally.
Yeah.
I think my first team, when people left, I was like, what are you doing? It's like a divorce, right? Now I'm like I feel so much wiser and more, I guess maybe, I don't know, I don't want to call it fatherly, but I think more mature in the way that I support whatever decision you need to do. And I've also pivoted how I work with agents in that, like Sal, for example, he had a pivot in 22, going, his 75% of his business was buyers, right? Well, those buyers no longer were buying when interest rates became 7%. So his business started evaporating in that regard.
Yep.
And he wasn't doing a lot of listings where that's my bread and butter typically, or I'm selling a house and I'm working with that same client to buy something simultaneously. So I said, listen, if you're going to, because he's a state certified interpreter for the state of Rhode Island, works for the court system. I said, I'm going to support you. I mean, last year he did $100,000.
That's awesome.
Did 10 deals. He just killed it. So, and part of that is because he's a hustler. Like anyone that I see in this business that does well, they hustle. They've got something driving them. They are motivated other than me saying, you need to do this. And you've got to hold yourself accountable, but you've got to have something else that's driving you,
For sure.
So what's the team structure look like right now?
So right now, I'm in the process. I'm hiring a couple VAs.
Nice.
So, which is good. Yep. I'm getting on that bandwagon finally. God. Yeah, and then I'm looking probably to hire probably 2 to 4 agents this year. So we're in this is going to be a big building year. So, but where I think we're getting a lot of kind of the VA part in set because there's things that I just no longer will want to do. And I've been doing it and stuff. And then we hadn't had assistant full time a couple years ago, and then we weren't doing that, and now we're starting to build up again. So,
cool. What are the VAs going to do for you?
So transaction management, marketing, admin, those are kind of the main cruxes of it all.
Yep.
So
we've used numerous VAs too. So we have 2 right now.
Yeah.
Who handle transaction management, and they're both fantastic.
Yeah.
So definitely we've gone through some that aren't fantastic as well. So definitely happy to share some advice on that side.
We'll talk offline,
yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
sure.
So we've used ISA VAs. That didn't really work out well for us. We have an in-house ISA now.
Yep.
But yeah, so we've gone down that path. We've used marketing VAs quite a bit. We don't have any right now either, but only TCs currently.
Yeah.
So what do you have for support? Is it really just the VAs that you're bringing on, or what does that look like?
Yeah. Well, and then we've got support in our office as well.
Cool.
So
Nice.
they do marketing support and transaction support, but I want to have it more in-house with my own team.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been looking for.
Nice.
So,
Right.
Yeah.
So you mentioned kind of like being a little bit too emotional when you started the team. Would you say that's kind of your biggest mistake when you were kind of building the team from scratch, or could you pinpoint something else as something you look back on you wish you could change at this point?
Well, I wouldn't say I wasn't emotional necessarily per se, but I think it was more like I didn't plan it out.
Okay. Yeah.
I did not plan that out well.
Yep.
About like, okay, so this is the plan for this week when you're going to be doing this. And I just was flying by the seat of my pants a little bit.
Sounds familiar.
And it can work.
Hey, look at me.
Can work with
We started the team together.
Well, it can work with a high eye. Like, I mean, if I did profile,
I believe he was looking for camaraderie there.
Yeah. Thank you, John. Thank you, Nate, for
As long as it wasn't a you.
No.
Well, this is why you got to have people that balance each other out, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so I think that's kind of, I look back and like, I just did not plan that out probably as well.
Yeah.
That's all.
So if I came to you today and said, Steve, I want to start a team. I'm a solo agent.
Yeah.
What would be the one piece of advice you would give me?
I'd say why.
Fair enough.
No,
But
know your why. Like, I think that's the thing. I'd say, why is it that you want a team? Is it you want a team to have more work-life balance? Like, you want to be able to spend more time with your family, so you want to have, or you want to be able to travel more. I think I look at younger agents that are coming on, there's advantages for them to be on a team, obviously, because now they can get ramped up quicker, get that experience. In fact, look at Rachel Dodson. She was she was with a team with Taylor Associates before he became Blackstone team. And she learned so much from that. And now she's a very, very top agent. With residential. So, there's a lot of other agents that I think it works for them. It's just a matter of like, why is it that you want a team and what do you want to do with that team?
Yeah, so
Great
true.
advice.
And there's so many different models
There's
out there.
so many different models. Every team is so different. Every team leader is very different. And it's all structured. Like, there's a lot of teams that I look at, it's like dual teams and stuff that there's a couple, actually, there's another team with Lila Delman, like they encompass that they're all like really good top agents, and they just they utilize they're kind of saving costs with marketing because of that. And they're all solo agents almost, basically doing their thing. Whereas there's other teams where, you guys would probably be one of them, that you've got younger people that want to learn and you're bringing in leads, and then you've got a different structure for that. But they're wanting to develop the skills and the acumen to be able to do it successfully.
Absolutely.
So
I know when we started the team, this guy was coming at me nonstop. I was very busy as a solo agent. He was
You're
brand
welcome.
new. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. But basically, he was like, "Come on, let's team up. Come on, let's team up." And eventually, we decided to do it. And very quickly, we realized that just 2 agents together just created twice the work, and we didn't have any support on the back end. So I think like 2 weeks into it, we hired an admin. We were like, oh, damn, this isn't helping. It's making it worse. And so we hired an admin and certainly took our lumps with various people in that role over the first couple of years. Yeah. And then we kind of honed in our why do we want to start a team, and it was to create a better support experience, for that client, whether we have specialists in marketing, operations, transaction coordination, and we were very slow to hire people. We were turning away people, some of which are really good producers nowadays, and kind of kick ourselves in the butts, like, oh, what happened there?
Yeah.
But we were very cautious not to grow too fast. We wanted to build that foundation of that support side first. And then once we felt like we had that dialed in, and now I feel like we can basically bring on agents and we have the structure and the system behind it
To plug and play.
To plug and play. Yeah. So it took a long time to get there, no doubt about it. But that was kind of our history on that side.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Steve.
Well, I was just going to say, I think my whole concept with a team is that there's, 2 heads are better than one, 4 heads are better than one, And I think for the client experience, right? Because there's certain circumstances we've been in where, like, I'm going through this right now with my brother-in-law who wants to buy investment property in a specific area, and lo and behold, my agent on my team has that expertise because he's dealt with the city and zoning and all that stuff where this is happening. So it's just great that I can rely on that. And I just think for clients, it's like, God, you're just being more efficient with your business in terms of bringing your clients, having a better client experience at the end.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
What were you saying, John? Before, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna no, not at all. I was
doing
just
it,
gonna
Steve.
talk about how. Shut me up.
Yeah.
I was just gonna talk about how things evolve. Like when we first started the team, Nick was the solo agent doing over 50 transactions, and he didn't like that. Areas of service might start to slip.
Yeah.
So the whole point was, how do we build this process and create this system where we could help 50 or 100 or 100 plus families a year, but give them the same process with the same service that they deserve every time.
Right.
And now that's evolved where we want to be able to help as many agents as possible provide that same thing, for as many clients as possible.
Yeah.
And from a layman's point of view, because I'm not a realtor.
You're not blaming.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's almost like the relationships and partnerships in the team feed each other, right? So like we have a lot of young people who come in and they have to go to those open houses if they really want to learn. And there's plenty of agents who are experienced and seasoned. They say, hey, come with me, kid. If you really want to learn and you want to do well in this business, you're going to have to hustle, right? You're going to need that incentive. And then like today, we had a younger gentleman come in and you were offering to maybe have him start with ISA because it's a really good way to learn how to cold call people in sales. And so like having that ability to plug people in and plug and play and kind of have everyone work in this like ecosystem where it's cohesive and we're all helping each other. That's like, come on, you're doing well, right? At that point. Come on.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Love it.
Yeah,
All
sure.
right, let's shift over to leadership. So Steve is president-elect of the Kent Washington Association of Realtors. John is vice president right now.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
So we've got some heavy hitters right here at the table, who have volunteered their time with the local association. So I'll ask the question to both of you guys. What does volunteer leadership mean to you, and why take that on now?
Well, I think first of all, I have the time more than I probably did 10 years ago. That's one. I think in terms of the board specifically for Kent Washington, and I think the reason why I got involved like 4 years ago, maybe, partially is because Pat Lenahan, our former brokerage, I mean, she kind of, nudged me in that direction.
Former past president.
Former past president. I mean, she just was a dynamic leader and she was very involved with the association. And I think it's just a matter of having a voice at the table. There's so many changes that are going on right now with our industry, with realtors, with consumers, with laws that are coming down, with all the lawsuits that have been going on. And there's a lot of things that are happening that are impacting our neighbors, our community. And so I wanted to have a voice at the table with that. So that's kind of the main reason why. But I think just in terms of volunteering, I think for me, it's like I think the responsibility is that there's no upside with. I mean, there's no like upside with as far as like getting paid or having power or anything like that. It's just you're doing it for the cause. You're doing it for the industry, and you're doing it for to kind of move things and be better. Because I think there's this bridge. I think there's some kind of gap where the public, for whatever reason, thinks that they have their own stereotype or feelings about realtors in general, that we just make all this money and da-da-da. Well, I think there was a pivot for me probably 5 years ago, not just to be involved with the association, but really get involved more with the community, you know, and be able to give back, because I think I'm in that role now where I don't feel like I'm hand to mouth anymore necessarily. So I feel that there's an impact that we as agents and we as realtors and our community, our realtor industry, needs to do with the public, period, the end, and give back to the community. Because there's affordability housing issue that we've got in our state. It's rampant nationwide. We've got to start addressing those issues. So I think being out front and having a voice at that table is critical right now.
I agree 100%. I love that take. How about you, JT?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. My involvement started, Nick kind of threw me into the deep end and it evolved quickly.
It's like, you should do this.
Yeah, and it went from, it was like,
Usually how it works.
it was like the board one week, and you know, a week and a half later, I was on the board in 2 committees. And that's evolved to the board, multiple committees with Kent Washington, and 2 committees at the state level. And it was to be involved, to have that voice. And it was eye-opening so quickly to see how much the association does for us in agents here locally, but also through the involvement in my committees at the state level. Like I was in DC last week for Advocacy Week, but seeing what the associations do for not just agents across the country, but people, the American people, like across the country, and advocating for homeownership, affordability, and all those different things, and having all of that knowledge to bring back, to have a voice in and impact not just the real estate agents, but the people, the buyers, the sellers.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've heard a couple takes kind of along those lines that NAR has certainly taken its lumps over the last few years. And one person, I think it was Rob Hahn, was talking about how they really should rebrand themselves as not the National Association of Realtors, but the National Association of Homeowners.
Yeah.
You know, and I kind of liked that take, to be honest, because it is so much more than just advocating for realtors and, you know, property rights. It is a lot more about property rights and homeownership and things along those lines. So I thought it was an interesting take, and, you know, certainly would be a bit of a different message out there. So I thought it was definitely something to explore, if not only just in the name, but more or less in kind of the mission, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, love that. Well, thank you both for your leadership. I certainly appreciate that.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Steve, what do you think agents are most unprepared for over the next few years when it comes to what's going on in the industry? What have you learned through your association involvement? What do you think more people need to be paying attention to?
I think they need to be paying attention to, you know, one is just like, they need to be paying attention to what's going on in AI. I think that's something that's evolving constantly, and there's just a wealth of tools out there that you can get totally overwhelmed with. But we are at a point right now where I think I was in 2009 with the advent of the internet and social media that was just kind of birthing then a little bit in our industry. But it's happening now.
Oh, yeah.
So I think there's things that if you're new in the business, or if you're not new, and let's say you've been doing it for 10 years, but you're like, I don't want to deal with that, I'm not paying attention to it. Well, if you plan on being in this business in 5 years, and you know that you're going to be doing real estate in 5 years, then there are certain things that you need to be paying attention to do that, because all of that kind of aligns with each other in terms of how people search you, because it's not just Google searching, it's AI searching. Like I looked up your address, and like there's a whole boom thing with AI goes down with Slocum with your address and stuff.
Yep.
So there's so many other specific nuances that kind of go with that in terms of how to create your online presence and whatnot. But I think it's just critical as far as like AI goes.
I have a listing right now under contract, condo over on College Hill. The seller is certainly, I don't want to say she's elderly, because she's really not elderly, but she's not a spring chicken, so to speak. So it's not the person you would expect this to come from. She found me on ChatGPT. I'm like, one of the first things I asked is, hey, how'd you hear about us, out of curiosity? It wasn't a referral or whatever. And she's like, oh, I asked who the best agent was in my area on ChatGPT, and you popped up.
Because you guys are blogging.
Yeah.
Well, they say now over 80% of buyers are starting on ChatGPT.
Yeah, they are. It's replacing what Google is.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I just look in the last 3 days, I've been on ChatGPT more than I've been on Google.
Yeah.
And they all kind of intersperse with each other a little bit, but now, and that's the whole thing. And like, then there's certain things that you should be doing to come up in that search higher. You
Absolutely.
know? So, at any rate, I think as far as what was the other question?
Just kind of from the association perspective, what do you think agents need to be more aware of over the next few years?
Yeah, I think it's just being aware that, with our association, I think it's good because we're advocating for, not just property rights and all that and home ownership, but I think we're advocating for realtors. And the fact that, there's a lot of and code of ethics for one. So I think it's important that we provide the education, the tools, the lunch and learns, all of that kind of stuff that we're doing. And I think probably a lot of agents don't understand, like, if something happens to you, that the association and REALTOR has your back, as long as you're part of that association. Because now in our business, you can choose not to be part of that unless your brokerage is, unless you're a specific brokerage that says, no, we are part of that. So, so I think it's really critical because there's an advocacy component to it that's going to be really helping as we move forward.
Big time. Now, you started to lead us down the path of AI. So with AI and marketing, there's so much noise out there. There's so many different platforms. How do you decide what's worth adopting?
Well, I mean, so ChatGPT is just like one form of it, right? There's others also. Perplexity is one that's kind of great, especially if you're doing higher end homes and things. I think that's where people are on it a little bit more. I'm also part of Tom Ferry right now, so I got just introduced to the AIM Academy. So
It's pretty cool, right?
oh my god,
Yeah. Jason Pantana.
that kind of blew my head away a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just kind of digging into that stuff right now. But I think with AI, it's like you just have to, you've got to, for example, I'll give you an example. So one thing, like let's say you're going to show a buyer a condo and they want to make an offer, but they want to see the homeowner. They want to see the condo docs. Okay. Well, I get the condo docs. They get emailed to me. Great. Now I feed it into the AI component, and now it spits it out in a summary form in 2 minutes that I can then send to my client. And it's bullet, everything. You can't have a dog over 50 pounds. You can't have you can only have parking. So it'll summarize the 126 pages that the attorney's not going to get to. Or if the attorney does get to it, he should be or she should be using AI as well. Every single profession needs to be using AI because it just gives you 30% higher intelligence quotient. It just makes you smarter, at what you do.
Yeah.
So I think if you're just going to ignore it and not be a part of it or not learn it, then that's fine. But I think you also have to take what it does spit out, and you've got to actually use your brain too and pick out okay, I'm not going to send that to my client. I'm going to put my own voice to that, right?
Absolutely.
Because now you can see, I see people's posts or I see people's emails and I'm like, yeah, that's totally AI driven. But does it still sound like them?
Yep.
Is it still them? Because then that comes back to your authenticity and it comes back to trust. Because if I can't trust you, then I don't want to do business with you.
Correct.
I spoke at a YPN event a couple months back or so, and it was on AI. And one of the things I stressed to new agents specifically is don't rely on it too much because, it's great if you can get these answers and you sound smart behind an email or whatever it might be. But if you can't properly explain the situation when you're there in person, that's
you're an
gonna
idiot.
You're an
Danger.
idiot, and you're going to be
Idiot.
exposed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's you need to understand the things first and be able to spot, hey, that's not applicable in my market. That's not applicable to me or to this transaction or whatever it might be. But you need to take that as a starting point, not the end point.
Right.
And that's so critical. And if you don't know the business, you're never going to be able to spot those errors. I mean, we certainly use AI a lot, and how often do we find something like that doesn't really?
Yeah.
That doesn't
work.
Doesn't work here. That's not
Right.
applicable
It's
to
not
Rhode
applicable.
Island or whatever it might be. Happens all the time. You know, so you can't just rely on it because it's scrubbing the entire internet. And just because something was posted on the internet in Missouri or whatever it might be, doesn't mean it's applicable here, or doesn't even mean it was right when it was written. You know what I mean? So you'd have to know how to filter through potential errors, no matter what large language model you're using.
Yeah. So true.
Yep. Love it. Cool. So what's one shift you believe in that's working for you in your business? How you using AI? What's one strategy that Steve Miller is like, damn, that is working well?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, just ChatGPT is working to a point where it's making, if I have to figure something out quickly, at least I can spew something in and I get it's a starting point. So I think that's been kind of helpful. I think another one that I just got kind of known is Notebook LM.
Yeah, it's cool, isn't it?
Yeah, with Google.
Yep.
So that is really, I haven't used it a lot now, but that's going to be kind of I think a future game changer a little bit. But I just think in terms of like where the market's going and whatnot, I think you just have to like, don't get caught up in all the noise with it all. But just, surround yourself with people that, it's like, what are you guys doing? What are you doing? You know, and what does work?
I think there's also like seasons to your career or life or whatever that you need to be cognizant of. I think if you're a new agent, you shouldn't be wasting time trying to build out all these systems and know, paralysis by analysis. It's just a trap that anybody could fall into, and we see it with some of our young agents. But I just spent the last 3 hours upstairs vibe coding, which has been a blast for me. But I'm also at a different stage in my career. You know what I mean? So I'm not, trying to grind to get clients and put food on the table and make my mortgage payment right now, and much more from the team leader visionary perspective of where we headed, what are we doing, and what can we do to simplify the process for our agents, for our consumers, all those kinds of things. So just because I'm doing it, I don't think means the brand new agent should be doing it at the same time.
Right.
So I think you need to understand where you're at in your career, focus on what you need to push the needle, and evolve as your career evolves, if that makes sense in any way.
Yeah.
So
You're a mad scientist trying to build apps right now, but for new agents, if they spend all their time
you should
doing,
see what I'm working on right now. I can't wait to get back up
I
there
can
tonight
imagine.
and just keep building.
but to your point, for a brand new agent, if they consume all their days trying to do that,
Yeah,
they're not going to have buyers and sellers to use it on.
exactly.
So
I love it. So
Well, and then you get just trapped. It's a trap, I just tell new agents, pick up the phone
yes,
and talk to people
Basics.
that know you, right? They know you. So
Yeah.
there's an automatic trust there. You don't necessarily need to cold call and say, how you doing?
Yeah,
Do you know anyone in your area that, is maybe considering a move?
yeah,
That's all.
simple as that.
yeah,
Ask a question. That's it.
yeah.
It's
And
pretty
in
simple.
turn, they'll ask you a question.
Such
Right.
good advice.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Steve, how do you personally avoid burnout in this industry? So many people fall, victim to it. You've been in the business a long time.
Work out every day. I work out every day.
I love it. We all have something, that's for sure.
No, it's so funny. Like I just had this conversation with a friend of mine, and I said, I think once you turn 50, like your body changes. Like I'm a little.
It gets worse. I thought 40 was.
No, it gets better. It's actually better, but
Okay.
But I think the thing is that like this happened to me about a year ago. Like I would just had this dull malaise where it just was like I wasn't working for me. And so like for me, I'm pretty regiment. Like I'll either do Peloton or yoga every morning.
Nice.
So, and if I don't do that, then I'm not me. Like I'm not 100%, and I'll be like kind of like,
Yep.
So I just tell people whatever it is for you, like that gets your regimen going or endorphins going, do that and do it every day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yep, you need to.
Cool. Let's move on to community. So
Yeah.
you indicated that you're deeply involved with Close to Kids RI.
Yeah.
Tell us more about that.
Yes, Close the Kids is a great organization. They're not for profit in Rhode Island, founded by Eva Mancuso. And I'm actually going to be nominated as a new president of that
nice.
board.
Congratulations.
I think next
Congratulations.
week. Yeah, thank you. So it's a wonderful group that basically we provide for low-income kids in Providence County. There's a store that's in Johnston, and they can go and shop. It's a personal shopper, and those that want to donate, they can donate lightly used clothes. But we do like coat drives and sock drives and everything yearly. But it's a great thing because I look at it like if a kid doesn't feel confident or gets picked on because of what they're wearing, then they're not gonna perform in school.
Yeah.
And if you don't perform in school, then things start happening.
Yep.
So I think that's part of my pillars in life as far as what I'm giving back now in the community is food, clothing, and shelter. So Rhode Island Food Bank, Crossroads Rhode Island, and Close the Kids. I mean, those are kind of my three prime ones.
That's
I love
great.
that.
So yeah, and it's great. So I do fundraising and we do donations for them. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Has giving back changed how you lead or how you show up for clients?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I think because by doing that, it's reinforced the purpose of why I'm doing this is it's a service. I'm helping people, being able to have their home and create a home for their family, whatever that looks like. And I think if you have that, that gives you stability. If you have stability, then you have predictability. And, you know, you can't, trust me, life happens every single day. We can't predict what's going to happen tomorrow. You know, your house could burn down. There's all these things. You could lose your job. Like there's a lot of the things, and your health is your number one thing too. So I think that by being more service driven or more community involved driven, that's definitely reinforced why I do this business. You know, why I get motivated. That's why I'm motivated every day.
It's so true. I think it's so critical to have that sense of community and purpose. I know personally early in my career, I was just focused sales, grind.
Yep.
And I didn't spend a lot of time volunteering with things like the association or local nonprofits, never mind starting our own nonprofit, you know, things along those lines. So, but once that shifted and I was at a point in my life where I could dedicate more time to the industry, to the community, to giving back to the community that served us for 76 years, starting a 501c3, Slocum Cares, it's given me such a increased purpose, you know, in our entire career. I just absolutely love, you know, when we give, you know, have events for the local community, give out, you know, the different pumpkins or give nice checks to local nonprofits, raise good amount of money for good causes. I think it just, you know, it changes why you want to get up every day. No doubt about it. You know,
for sure.
It's great. I love it. So cool. Go ahead, John. I've been talking a lot. Sorry.
You do. You keep cutting me off.
Sorry. You got to get a little more aggressive.
So, Steve,
do you have a confidence issue, John?
Big into golf, skiing, fitness. How intentional do you feel you have to be about balance?
I think you really do have to be intentional about it. Like, I think for me, and like, for example, I feel kind of guilty a little bit, but because I'm traveling a lot I mean, I just signed myself up for another ski trip. It's going to be a 3-day weekend in Park City. You know, I mean, this is in March.
Why
so
are you guilty?
You just go back from Aspen, right?
Yeah.
We're going to Monday.
I know.
Yeah.
You're going to love it.
Yeah.
They had no snow, though. Not much snow.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
So I can bring my East Coast groomers skis.
Yeah. So I think it's important because for me, I think for anyone, like if we were talking about burnout earlier, right? So I think if you're just working 7 days a week, 10 days, you know, and you're going, and you really don't take that concerted, intentional effort to take 4 days off or 2 days off or whatever it is. Sometimes you can't take a week or, you know, then it's going to impact your business. It's going to impact your family life for sure and your personal life. So, and then you're going to be useless for your clients, for everyone.
Did you hear that, John?
Yeah, man.
Did you hear?
What are you trying to say?
So take a
You need
3-day
some
weekend.
hobbies.
It's okay.
Let's go, dude. You got to put the oxygen mask on yourself before you
I
help
have
someone
hobbies.
else.
It's called here.
So I think it's critical too. I think you need to have some kind of balance. You know, these guys know, like, you know, spring through fall, Friday afternoons, I typically take off and go play golf every Friday afternoon. And, you know, but I also work a lot of Saturdays and Sundays until 10 o'clock.
He's going to be vibe coding on his Friday night.
Exactly. You know, I put in way more than 40 hours, typically like 60 to 80, but it's not always
not a
9 to 5.
competition.
I'm just saying, you don't need the eye rolls over
You
there.
don't have to justify yourself.
But it's important to be able to unplug and like shut your
Yes.
brain off. And,
Of course.
you know, it's much needed for me anyway. John, I'm a little worried about having a little heart attack over there.
Yeah, what the hell, man? We got to get you a pogo stick or something.
Seriously.
Yeah.
You should take up pickleball.
This is like my partner.
Why not pickleball? Couldn't you see him like shorts doing pickleball with like
100%.
high socks or something?
Yes.
You know I'd hurt my knees.
Knee-high
Come
socks.
on, you don't need to run that. Old people play pickleball.
Is that
nonstop.
And they hurt their knees.
Okay, well,
Oh, you're such a Eugene sometimes.
Eugene.
Yeah, just like, oh,
I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
My middle name's Eugene.
Is it?
Yeah.
You like pickleball. You don't have to run around that much. It's not like tennis.
Yeah.
Seriously. You could do it.
All right. I feel like I took a big step this afternoon. So last week when I went to DC, I flew out early intentionally so I could get there and post up in my hotel room to have my Wednesday afternoon meeting.
So you could work.
So I could work.
yeah.
And I was going to do the same next Wednesday in Aspen. And I finally started thinking about how I might be able to get a few things to have someone else cover, move them around because there's a snowmobiling tour in Aspen that I might go to.
You
So,
should do that.
Absolutely.
look at that. Go and get some fresh air.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're a new man.
Big move.
New man.
Big move.
What are you gonna do here locally?
Yeah.
How are you going to unplug? How are you going to relax? How are you going to have eye twitches?
One step at a time.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. All right, let's move along. So,
Yeah.
Steve, we got some other questions I did not send you in advance because that would ruin the purpose of them.
Okay.
So, as is customary, we roll out some hypothetical questions. And most importantly, you have to choose between two things. All right. So, first reaction. So, you're hiking in Alaska and you round a corner and there's a 12-foot grizzly bear staring you down, foaming at the mouth. All right. Just you and this grizzly bear.
This bear's gotten really big.
Yeah, he paints
grizzly
it.
bears are
This
big.
sounds
More
like
and
my
more
writing.
vicious each time. Yeah.
Or you're swimming on Cape Cod, beautiful summer day, 20 yards offshore, and a white shark
Massive.
swims
I'll
right.
take the grizzly bear.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm taking the grizzly bear.
Yeah, let's go.
Because this happened to me. Well,
What?
Sans the grizzly bear, but I had a rite of passage doing a 24-mile hike in Glacier.
Okay.
This was in 2002, and I was by myself. And this was like the end of June, but they had massive snowpack, and my buddies were like, "Oh, you should take this hike. It'd be great." Da da da. And the ranger was like, "Do you have your hiking gear? Like, do you have a pick?" And I said, "Oh yeah, it's right there." You know, lied. And then halfway up, I'm like, I couldn't go back. There was a point of no return. And so I had to run. I was at the top. It was like 14,000 feet. I was at the top of this mountain, and I literally had to run like 200 yards. And one side was a cliff, and the other side was like, oh, shit. And so I just kind of plug my eyes, say a little, prayer. And, I got to the other side, but now it's like steep down. Like it was crazy. No grizzly bear, but I'll take the grizzly bear over shark. I don't want to lose my leg.
Right.
I'm with you.
I could outrun a grizzly bear.
You think so?
No way.
chance.
No chance.
No chance. No chance.
No chance.
No.
Have you
Yeah,
So
play
my
dead.
argument is a grizzly bear, you can at least put a tree between you and the grizzly.
Yeah.
I
A
could do
shark,
something.
you're out there.
Oh, you're done.
And they're just going to pull
You're
you
done.
under and play, flip you around. And
No,
Yep.
I don't.
I'm
That's
the
right.
lone shark guy in this room. We've had guests who said shark, but I'm a shark guy.
Yeah.
So
bear for the win.
I think sharks don't want to eat you.
Yeah.
You're not their typical, appetite.
It's
So
a nice thought.
people swim with white sharks all the time. Free dive with them.
Yeah.
We're gonna do it.
That's a
People
hard
people
no.
keep
So-
grizzly bears as pets.
If we hit our goal this year, John, we're going shark diving. I'll give you a cage, but I'm going in the cage.
So if we do 400 sides this year, we go shark diving, I get a cage, you get no cage.
no, I'm getting a cage too.
Oh.
I never said I wanted to go
I
free
thought-
diving. I said people do go free diving.
You get no
I thought
cage.
people you've told me that you can just like tap it on the nose gently.
Now,
I mean,
John,
you could,
imagine,
but I'd rather not take
imagine
the chance.
if you do this and this is your thing now for stress relief. You're like, yes,
going
you're
shark.
addicted to the adrenaline. yeah.
I
That'd
do
be
have an
so
addictive
sick.
personality.
Yeah.
I love it.
I could see you doing it.
All right, Steve, would you rather sit in Route 4 beach traffic every Friday all summer or be on the Block Island Ferry 4th of July just doing laps?
Man, that's a tough.
He perked up
one.
when he heard Block Island.
Like, oh, Block Island, no problem. But 4th of July, I'm like, ooh. High speed?
No, slow boat.
oh,
Inside in a humid day.
Jesus. It's worse every time.
Well, I could drink on the ferry.
Yep.
I can't.
Yeah.
If you're stuck in traffic, 4 you don't know. Like you might be stuck there for a long time.
Yep.
Probably take the ferry.
Yeah.
Just not going to be happy about it, but I do it anyways.
It's a good answer. It's
Yeah.
a good answer. Go ahead, John. I said the first two.
Would you rather take a listing 10% overpriced knowing it won't sell or lose the listing because you refuse to lie about price?
I'll lose the listing.
You're a pro when you walk away from a listing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I'm kind of interesting you said that because like this happens all the time where going in you're competing with someone else. And so that was when we started in the business, you were going to buy the listing and stuff. But now I'm at a point where I'm like, no, I don't want to see all this days on market
Yeah.
with and you're being hired for your expertise. So if you can't convince a seller that you know what you're doing, then why waste the time
Time,
through
the
that
investment, yeah.
whole with that someone who's not going to respect you up front.
They're
I'm with
driving
you.
the boat you aren't in that
Yeah.
scenario,
Yeah.
So, all right. Would you rather have an out-of-town buyer in town showing 10-plus homes each Saturday and Sunday during a blizzard and sub-zero temps like we're experiencing basically right now, or during a weekend in August with 100-degree-plus humid weather?
I'll take the 100-degree plus
Yeah.
all day long.
All day.
I'm
'Cause I
going
know
with the
they're
humid
gonna-
weather, too.
I
Yeah.
will
Bye.
go. I'll go cold all day.
Really?
Yeah?
In the
Yeah.
snow?
No.
Yeah, it's fine.
Wow. This guy.
He's a bear.
You from Minnesota?
No, but I don't do well in heat.
You don't. Oh yeah.
I
you
don't.
burn.
No, I know some people that same. They cannot do humidity
Yeah.
in 95. It's just
Nope.
My
Yeah.
wife always says I can't
Yeah.
properly explain myself in this heat. That's her go-to.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah. And I'm like, I love the heat.
Hotter the
So
better.
same here. When we went to New Orleans, she was like almost throwing up the beignets, and I'm like, this is amazing. This is perfect. It's perfect weather.
I was talking to my wife and some friends of ours last night. He's got a wicked ice dam going in his house. His daughter's bedroom is just soaked, massive insurance claim. He went up into his attic and sent me a video of the ice buildup inside of his attic right now.
Oh, yeah.
And we have a small leak. Hopefully it's not worse when I get home tonight, coming through a recessed can in our back family room right now. So I'm like, what the hell are we doing?
Yeah,
like,
why?
Well, let's just move to Florida. If it wasn't for this whole work and kids thing,
Why do we live? Why
Minor
do we live in a
details,
place
right?
where it hurts when we go outside?
It's going to be
painful.
32 in Miami tomorrow. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Plus 100 and humid hurts.
I'm going to Aruba then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is emotional pain.
Especially if you're albino like you.
Yeah.
All right, take us away with the last hypothetical, John.
All right, Steve, would you rather work with a seller who says, I just want to test the market, or a buyer who says, we're not in a rush, but texts you 14 times a day?
Ooh, I'll take the seller. I'll take the first one.
I agree on that one.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so last thing, we have 7 lightning round questions. So quick, off the top of your head answers. Book every real estate agent should read.
Oh gosh. Atomic Habits.
Nice.
Most underrated skill in real estate?
Listening.
One question you wish clients would ask more often.
What's your, I don't know. Like, that's a great question. I would just say, what's the best advice you can give me?
I like it.
Good one.
Yeah.
I like that.
Ask you to be the guide.
Yeah. Your biggest real estate pet peeve?
I would say agents not returning calls or picking up their phone.
Mm-hmm.
Communication.
Oh God, communication.
Love it.
Yeah.
With you.
Best advice you've ever received.
Don't sweat the small stuff.
Good one.
Would you rather rebuild a team from scratch or fix one that won't follow the systems?
Start from scratch.
Burn it all down.
One belief you have about real estate that you don't think most agents would agree with.
Oh, that I think that it is true wealth, generational wealth creation.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. That's all I got for today. Any final thoughts you want to leave us with, Steve?
No, I think you guys are doing a great job. Like, honestly, this is awesome. I'm so glad. I'm so happy to be a part of this. I think we are in for quite a year this year. It's going to be challenging. There's going to be a lot of ups and downs and stuff, but I tell everyone, just buckle up.
I love it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here,
Let's
Steve.
go.
Yeah.
Great guest, Steve. Thanks for being on the show.
Yeah,
we
you bet.
do end the podcast with a rating. So what do we have for ratings today, Nate Dogg? Kick us off.
I thought this was a solid 8.7 out of 10.
8.7.
Yeah.
Down today.
Yeah. No, not down. Not down. This is good.
8.7 is a good score.
Solid. That's a solid score.
Uh,
Yeah.
I'm going to go 9-2. I thought Steve was a great guest. I learned a lot today.
Great.
Yeah, I'm going to say 9.3, just like I got to one-up John. And no, I thought it was a good episode. Steve was a great guest. I like having people in the studio as opposed to the virtual route. So
Agreed.
it's nice. So
Agreed.
it's fantastic. Thanks for joining us,
Awesome.
Steve.
Thanks,
you want to give us
guys.
a rating? You want to give us a rating here?
You guys are a 9.5.
Wow.
How about that?
Thanks, Steve.
In the cold.
In the
dungeon.
cold.
I love it. Good timing. I had a 4:15 hard stop. It's 4:10.
There we go.
That's a wrap on today's episode of Shootin' the SHT. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. And if you enjoyed this content, please share it with others and leave us a rating and a review. Buying, selling, or want to connect with Nick and JT? Visit Slocum Home Team on Facebook and Instagram or slocumhometeam.com. We'll see you next time.